Hey there. This is my updated short intro to Second Life and the basics of getting around and doing things. And the first recommendation I'm going to make is rather than using the Second Life viewer, the Second Life program, I really recommend that you use what's called the Firestorm viewer. And if you just search for Firestorm viewer, it'll take you there. It's a free program. It does the same thing as the Second Life program, but in my experience, it just works a lot better. Uh, I tried both of them again yesterday on my machine, and for me, there was no comparison. Firestorm is faster. Everything just moves faster, and I've got a pretty high-powered machine. The Second Life viewer really kept bogging me down, which is frustrating. So I'm going to be using the Firestorm viewer here. If you're using the Second Life viewer, you can. Most of the functionality is the same, just like you're familiar, like from Photoshop to something else. The functionality is there. It's just things will be in a different location. But I'll try to explain it so you can use either way. But I really recommend the Firestorm viewer, which is what is on the screen. And you'll see, just like Second Life, I've started the viewer. To log in, you add your avatar name down here, your password, and the option you've got here is where do you want to log in. You can just, mine right now is set on last location, so wherever I logged out, that's where it's going to take me back. The other options you've got is I could select home, and once you've created a home location, which we can talk about later, it'll take you there. Or you can say a specific region, and I could type in the name of the island, Imagine Learning. IMAGI, all lowercase, and the word learning in upper. But I'm going to just say last location, and everything else is ready. I'm going to click login, and it begins. Depending on bandwidth, it takes longer or less. This is where the Second Life browser for me took a good 3, 4, 5 minutes just to get me in. And even when I was in there, stuff just didn't res right. Everything was a cloud. And this is going pretty well. I'm in, and everything is there. Still pieces coming in, as you can see. My hat's not on yet, but basically there. But this is the Firestorm browser, and before we go anywhere else, let's look at some things on the screen. First of all, there are some things on my screen that you're not going to have right now. Down here in the lower left, these buttons here. This is an animation controller called an animation overrider, and I can use it. It's on now. If I turn it off, if you watch my avatar, I'll turn it off. It kind of goes back to a standard pose. But if I turn it on, it takes a bit. I've got some animations created that I can use, running, sitting, that kind of thing, and this lets me control it, which is kind of cool. Also over here on the right, I got a bunch of stuff. This thing here with all the colored lines, this is a teleporter or landmark menu. You probably remember when you go in Second Life, you find a place you like, you can landmark that place, and it will give you the address, so you can just find that in your inventory later and click on it to go back where you were. This is a landmark or teleport device that shows here. I've got 20 of them here, but I can click and go to page 2, and there's 20 more. And it's a great way. I'll go back to page 1. Great way to get to places quickly. I can open my inventory and find them there and go, but here they're right here. So I want to go. Let's say I want to go to the theater. I just click theater. It opens the map and takes me there. These other pieces on here, don't worry about. These are things I have created. This middle one, for example, if I click on it, it stores documents. I can create documents and put in here. So rather than have them on my computer that I have to go find, I can just open them right here. This is a logic system. It's disabled right now. We can talk about that later. This is a little reser I created, so I can click on it, and it gives me, when I'm building things, it gives me these objects I can res, so I don't have to go hunting for them. And this one is one I'm working on for, was doing it for the Emily Graham books. It's called Delhi. I can click on it. It's another document thing, but it's giving me the documents related to the Delhi murder, which I'll show you later. But those just ignore for now. And down here at the bottom is a radio, so I can control music. You won't have those. You can get them, but they're not there. There are 3 right here that you'll have, and several more on the bottom, and one over here. Usually, I think when you first started, all of these here are down across the bottom. Those are shortcuts. For example, this first one, if I click it, it's a shortcut to my inventory, all of my stuff in inventory. The second one is the map, so I can see where I'm at and scroll back and see the whole world of SL. A little slow, which is not unusual for midday. And the third one here are my avatar clothing, avatar shapes, and so forth. I drag them. You can take any of these. This one right here, for example, if I click on it, it shows me people who are nearby, or I can look at all my friends, what groups I belong to, and all that. Let's say if I want to use that one a lot, I could just drag that one over here, and it'll appear over here. I just don't use it that much, so I leave it here. The other one here that you might use more at the beginning, the camera controls. This one lets me, there are better ways of doing this, but this will let me, for example, I can turn my camera, I can pan my camera up, down, right, around. I can move left or right. The other one here, the little mouse, if I click on it, puts me in what's called mouse look. So now I'm actually inside my avatar looking around. I've got a scroll wheel on my mouse. Ideally, have a 2-button mouse or more and a scroll wheel, and you can set it up so I can scroll, and if I push the scroll level side to side, I can, pan. If I push the little button forward or back, I can move, and I don't have to use the keyboard as much. So that's kind of cool. But what you might do, if you find yourself using the camera controls, you could drag it over here or over to the left, whichever side you like. I like all my stuff over here for some reason. Kind of keeps it out of the way. The other ones here we'll look at. This one that's kind of blinking is the speech or chat, and it's windows you can drag around. This one is showing nearby chat, and it's just showing me right now. If somebody was right here talking with me, it would show up here, or messages. Now it's just showing, I've been clicking on things, so it's telling me that. I can also see all of my contacts, who's in world, and so forth. But that's this one. I usually leave it right there because that's right next to my chat window, so it just makes sense. The other one, if you have a microphone, which is really helps, you'll notice if you do have a microphone and it's connected, you'll notice over your avatar's head is this little white dot. And as I move around, the white dot goes with me. If you see a little white dot over an avatar's head, it means they do have microphone, they do have voice. And what I do here, if I click and hold my microphone, you'll see now it's recording what I'm saying, or not recording, but it's broadcasting it in world. When I let go, it stops. Or I can click the little button here to lock it, and now if I click, it will stay on whether I hold it or not. That creates problems for me because I forget to turn it off. But that's how you can communicate. You'll need microphone and a speaker for that. Okay, while we're here, before we look, that's the basic layout. Again, you can drag things over here. Second Life Viewer has the same thing. I think these start out on the side here, but you can drag them wherever you want to drag them. Before I go any further, the other, probably most important thing here is I'm going to go up on Avatar and go down and select Preferences. In the Second Life Viewer, I think you're looking for Settings, I think they call it. But I click on Preferences, and this lets me control all of the different elements of the browser, of the viewer. And some of these you may never mess with. This shows about moving and viewing, how the camera behaves, how smooth it is. Here's mouse look and that kind of thing. Don't worry about those right now. The one you want to look at is graphics. And this is where you can change the settings, the graphics settings, depending on the hardware you're using. It does a pretty good job of analyzing the computer and setting the default settings as closely as it can. But sometimes, again, depending on bandwidth and other things, sometimes you need to come in and tweak these. You'll notice that mine, it set things pretty high. It's halfway between high and ultra. It's actually been all the way up on ultra before. That's the overall quality of speed and performance. The higher you set this, the more load there is. So if you've got a strong computer, graphic-wise, the higher you can go. And all it means is the clearer things are going to be, the more you're going to see shadows and animations and all that kind of stuff. Plus, you'll notice here, so the first thing, if you're having a really sluggish performance, you can back this down. And you can see when I do that, some changes in how things are looking. Nothing major. It's not, it's not life or death. But this is a place where I don't have a lot of movement, trees blowing and stuff like that. You'll do notice, if I do move it down, you'll notice a little change in the lighting. And then I go back up here. That's changing. There we go. That's changing the local lights, atmospheric shaders, advanced lighting, each of which you can toggle on and off until you get things moving the way you want it. Another key one here is draw distance, and you're familiar in graphics. The further the screen tries to draw, the heavier the load. So you can set it to 32 meters, and as I look around, you'll see in the distance there isn't anything over there. But as I increase that, oh, there they all come. They're coming in now. It's up to 300, 400. You really don't need it too awfully high, because I think an island is just, 250 meters, something like that. So the main place it's different is if you look up in the air. If there's stuff up in the air you want to see, you may want it higher. Long and short, and how many particles and all this, and the more things you have turned on high, the more load it's going to be on a computer. So this is just where you can tweak things and get the smoothest performance possible. The one other one to look at in a Firestorm viewer is called Sound and Media. This is where you can set the volume for the master volume, because there's sound in here, there's music, and you hear people talking and so forth. You can set that wherever. Buttons, which is every time you click on something, let me turn it up a little bit. Every time you click on something, you hear a click. That can get a little annoying after a while. Ambient is like wind and so forth. You can, get that where you want it. Sound effects, again, wind, vehicles, so forth. Streaming music, I usually keep it down a little bit. Media is like for movies and so forth, which I keep up there. Voice chat, I keep up all the way. And the other thing, if you don't want to hear this kind of stuff, you don't want to hear music, just disable it, and it's not a problem. Okay, there's a lot of other things you can do here. For now, let's see, there's anything we need to look at here. Media, no. Enable music. Voice. If you're working with voice with a microphone and you can't, and for some reason you can't get the little white dot and it's not working, go to Sound and Media, click the voice tab, and make sure it's enabled. That's the main thing. And then here you'll see toggle speak on and off when I press the middle mouse. I don't have that one activated because I'm using the middle mouse for something else. But if voice isn't working for you, come here and just make sure it's toggled on. And that should be it. Okay, the other one I do back here on the General tab, you can decide if it's going to show your name. I can turn that off. You see my avatar. Group titles, view names, highlight friends, all this kind of stuff. Show complexity. Don't worry about that. The one that gets me is timeout. If you walk away, from the computer, it's going to time out after a while. I set mine to never, because sometimes I've got things running in here that I don't want to stop. You're familiar with that. And the same with logging out after a certain time. Let's say you're in the middle of doing something. You know how that works. But I just set those to never and get on with it. Okay, we're in World. I'm using my middle mouse button and just holding it to the left and right. But you can use the arrow keys. If I push my left arrow key, I rotate left. My right rotates right. Up arrow moves forward. Back arrow takes me backwards. Pretty common stuff here. I'm going to, you can either click on the camera settings and go to mouse, or I'm just going to move my scroll wheel forward until I'm inside. And this is where it's fun, because now I just move my mouse. And if I slide my mouse to the left, to the right, up, down, whatever, and then I use my keys or my mouse button, now I'm walking around and I'm in World. There are times for immersiveness, this is better. It's just more realistic. But there are other times when it's really better, if you like it better if you can see where you are in World and all that. But that's just another thing here. Now, I just walking around, I'm going to click. I've got my key. Let's see, what do I press here? Home. The home key makes me fly. And I do the same thing. Movement is the same. I've got a flying animation here, you'll notice. But home will make you fly. Press home again. That's home on the keypad. I don't know that the other home will do it. Yep, they both do it. Okay. So home will get you to fly, and you can fly around as much, but you know about that. Now, controlling things. Let me look here. Controlling things with this. With the mouse, the left and right button. This is something that a lot of folks get confused. Use the left button to create an action, to do something. The left button, index finger button, you click on something to do something. So, for example, I'm going to click on the table. Let me zoom in. I'll show you about zooming in a second. I'll click on the table. Let's see if I can find a couple of pieces here to move. That one I'll click. Oh, it's reset. Okay, I left click and it reset the game. So left clicking will activate something. I think when we were on, where were we? Someplace, and I mentioned when we were in the jewelry store, if you left click on things, let's just head over there. It's real close. And I'll show you the difference. There's sound effects. You hear them as we walk by. I left clicked on the door to go in. And here we are. Now, the difference. If I right click on, let's go over here to the wall. I'm going to right click right here. When I do that, you'll notice it selects that. And since I own it, it's giving me some options to edit it, to move it, and so forth. You won't get all that. It'll highlight it, but that's about all if you don't own it. But that lets you select things. That's how you select things, to move them, change them, and so forth. If I left click on it, it's going to somewhere here. Why is it not opening my menu? There it is. Try it here. I left clicked on this little kiosk here and I got a menu. I can arm it, I can steal it, I can lock it. Let's see. I'm going to click. Let me just, what happens if I steal? I'm going to steal it. What happens here? Move out of the way. There. It stole, put it in the bag. Attach your avatar. Yes, I've got it. Now I'm going out the door. I just stole. Hi. Hello, officer. I think I will fly. The jewelry store, like the bank, is created with scripts in it for role play. And it's scripted for various kinds of robbery. There's alarms, there's locks to pick, there's it's pretty darn complex. The same with the bank, all kinds of things. There are simulations in here that actually are used for law enforcement training, and that's where those come from. So it attached that to me. I'm going to right-click on it and select Detach, just to get rid of it here. But all I did when it put that, I clicked Steal, and it put the bag on the floor. I left-clicked on it, got a menu, and said Attach it. I mean, yeah, and got it. So the main thing, remember, when you go someplace, let's go over here to Jameson's. I want to open the door, so I left-click on the door. Don't right-click, but I left-click. I go in here, walk around. There's the dart game. There's the author's corner. There's the soda machine. Let's get a soda. I'm going to come up here and left-click on it. I don't remember how that works. Let me check here. Yeah. Oh, I got to pay, I think, don't I? I got to pay. I'm not going to pay for a soda. Never mind. You get the idea. There's a trivia game to click on. There's all kinds of things here. You can left-click on these to get your drink and attach them and so forth. So that's left-click, right-click. Now, you may remember this. I'm just going to walk over here by the fire station. Let's say that we get to the fire station. Oh, here's an example of right-clicking. I've done some changes here, and you'll notice that because I did, my sidewalk doesn't work right. So since I own it, I'm going to right-click and say Edit. I'm going to click on the menu and stretch it. And then I'm going to stretch that out so it looks better. How's that? That's the left-click, right-click difference. Let's say I'm here at the fire station and I want to come back here later. So I want to create a landmark. Easy to do. I'm going to go up to World. I'm going to come down to landmark this place. And then the name of it. It thinks it was Sunset Beach. I don't know why. I'm going to say station, fire station, and I'll save it. There we go. And then it shows my inventory. Let me open my inventory, and I'll go here to landmarks, and you'll notice there's my new landmark called Fire Station. So let's say, I won't close, there we go. I'm going to fly way over here just for some place to go. And now I want to go back to the fire station. I'll open my landmark, double click on it. Are you sure you want to teleport? Yep. Boop. And I'm back at the fire station. So you can create as many landmarks as you want. Name them something that'll help you remember. And if you're doing it a lot, you can always get one of these little managers here. All right, let me see. Oh, communicating. You know about chatting. We've done that. If somebody is within 10 meters, you can type here, down here in the lower left, the chat window, and everybody will see it. All right. If they're further away than that, what I normally would do is I would open my chat window. I would look for them. I'd go to contacts and look for that person. Like, let's say I saw a Potter Winfield here. I would click on Potter. Up here I'd go IM or call, and I could send an instant message. And instant messages go throughout Second Life. So you can instant message anyone, anywhere. But the chat window down here is only for people within 10 or 20 meters, I think. It is possible to do whispers, which is like within 3 meters, but the IMs are private. So really, even if you're nearby, if you want to talk to somebody with nobody else hearing it, using an IM is the best. The other option you've got is if they're standing there, you can right-click on them and select Profile on that avatar, and you'll see everything about them. But on somebody, I can't IM me, so there's no option here to IM me. But if you do that with another avatar, it'll give you the opportunity to send an instant message to them. That's another way to find out. You see an avatar, you're wondering who is that or whatever. Right-click on them, select Profile, and it'll show whatever they have said about themselves here. It'll give you their name, how long they've been in Second Life. And if they have any particular interests or anything, pics or inventory, all kinds of things. If they've given any notes about their real world, and you can keep notes here. So it's just a way to kind of keep track of people. One other thing for keeping track of people, and we'll do this when we get in world, in addition to having friends in here, you can be a member of a group. You probably remember that. I'm going to go up here to COM or Communications, and I'm going to go to Groups. And these are all of the groups that I belong to or have. Some of them are no longer around. My active group right now is one called VB's Friends. But groups are ways, if I look at VB's Friends, for example, let's see, profile of the group. This is a group. If I go to members and roles, it's me, basically. That's a group I created. If I have another avatar and I want to, and the main reason that is anybody who's a member of this group has control of everything. So I really don't want to do that. Here was a group I did with the Masters group here a while back, and I've selected that, and you'll see here are the names of all of the people who were in that group, and their members, what their roles are, notices. The nice thing about groups is you can send messages to everybody at once, plus you can give groups permissions. I can give individual people permission. For example, there's an automobile over here. Let's wander over that way for a second. These cars are all drivable. And the thing is, as the owner of these vehicles, I've got to change my settings because the graphics aren't showing very well. As the owner, if I right-click on it, owner config, I can decide who gets to drive these cars. Members of a group, just the owner, or everyone. You don't want everyone because who knows what people are going to come in here and do things. So I usually have them either owner or group. And then I saw that one's set for the group to drive. And then as I edit it, I have to look and say what group does it belong to. And right now it's VB's Friends, which is me. So what I would do, and I'll do this, is I'll create a group that we can be in. And I'll go around and set vehicles here to be owned by that group. So anything that the group owns, anybody in that group can use. All right, let me look here. Clicking all that kind of thing. The only thing I'll mention again, inventory. This is my inventory. It's pretty big. I've been in here 15 years, lots of stuff. This is all stuff I've collected. Down at the bottom of this, when you first start the library inventory, this is stuff you will have from the beginning, and there's some animation, clothing, and so forth. There are tons and tons of stuff in here. A lot of it for free, some of it you can pay for. Don't worry about that right now, but lots of stuff in here to get you set up. The one other thing we can look at, oh, and with that, maybe, for example, you've decided you want to change your avatar. I'm going to spin around here. Oh, before I do, this is important. This is important. What I just did, I want to turn around here. I'm moving my camera, and I'm doing it differently so I can show around. This, you may remember, this is the way to really take control of your camera. Point at whatever you want to point to, whatever you want to look at. I want to look at my face, and no matter how I keep trying to spin my camera around, I keep turning away. I want to see my face. So I point my mouse at me. I hold down the Alt key, and when I do that, the cursor changes to a magnifying glass. Nothing yet. But the Alt key with my left mouse button, it locks the camera on my avatar, and when I turn around, I can see it. I can do the same thing with that scoreboard. I'll point my my cursor towards it. I'll hold the Alt key. I'll hold down my left mouse button. You'll see it logged. Now as I move my mouse, it's locked on that scoreboard. It's a great way for looking around. I want to look at the basketball. I point to it, hold the Alt, left mouse button, and that's what my camera is locked on. That is one of the best features to know in here. It is critical. We'll look at customizing avatars later. The quick and easy form is if you do go to your inventory and go down to library, you will find under clothing, I think, there are some initial outfits. These are all different avatars you can switch to. You just right click on it and say replace current outfit. I'll do that. Jesse. Oh, that may have been a mistake. And as soon as I do that, it changes the avatar completely. Ooh. Yeah. All right. Okay, I don't want to do Jesse. I'm going to go back to mine here and go to that where replace outfit. Takes me back to me. I like that better. There are other ways of customizing your avatar size, shape, every individual thing. We can look at that later. Okay, this should be enough to get you in here. Again, the key thing I really recommend is switch over to the Firestone browser. It makes huge difference in performance. I'll take you over and we'll end up here in Japantown, Little Japan. I just finished this part last night. As you go around the islands, you'll see this teleport board. There's several of them around. These are using landmarks. Let's say I want to go back to the quarter. I just left click on that. It'll open the mouse, show me the map. I click teleport, and I'm back. I'm back in the quarter. Let's go down and I'll fly to be quicker. We'll go down and have a drink. Come in here. I'm going to right click. This is some of these a little different. If you click on something and nothing happens, if you point to something and the arrow turns to a hand, that means something's there. But left click doesn't do it. So I'll right click and I'm going to say set here. And there I am. If I left click, it gives me different animations. Each time I left click, it shows me the menu. Find the one you like. No, I don't like that one. Hands back. No. You just find what you like. How about chill? Yeah, I'll just chill. No, I don't like that. There's arrows, so that means there's more. You leg up, back sit. Yeah, I'll stay there for now. Okay. Move back with my camera. That should get you started. Let me know if you have other questions. We'll get started.